You can turn subtitles on by clicking this symbol in the bottom right corner. By clicking the cog next to this, you can also adjust the playback speed to make the speech whatever speed you feel comfortable listening to. In the description below, you can find web links to all the websites, videos and resources that are mentioned during this video.
Welcome to section 6. In this section, we look at different types of fats and how they may impact the body. We will also look at healthy food choices, the foods we should eat more often, the foods we should eat in moderate and sensible portion sizes, and the foods we should eat less often. Saturated fats tend to be solid at room temperature and are generally found in animal-based foods such as butter or the fat or meat. Unsaturated fats tend to be liquid form or easily spreadable at room temperature and are made from plants such as olive, sunflower or rapeseed. Saturated fats will have an impact on cholesterol by increasing our LDL or bad cholesterol. Both saturated and unsaturated fats are high in calories, so only use or eat them in small amounts, as if we eat them in large amounts, you may gain weight.
So in this section, we're not just focusing on carbohydrates, we are talking about food in general and how its impact can affect us putting on weight, affecting our blood pressure, our overall cholesterol and heart health, and also with our blood glucose levels. So the food is split up into 3 sections. We've got eat often, eat in moderation, and eat less often. And we're just going to talk through about why these foods have been placed into these particular sections. So in the eat often, where we've got the smiley face, we have our veg, our salad, and also we've got fruit as well. So with veg and salad, we can fill up on these. It's going to have very little impact on our weight, glucose levels, blood pressure, cholesterol or heart health. Full of vitamins, nutrients and fibre. In this section, we do also have fruit. We don't want people to stop having fruit when they've got type 2 diabetes because of the fibre and the nutrients that they have inside of them. However, because fruit does contain naturally occurring sugars, we just don't want people to have too much of it too often. So although it is in our happy green face, eat often category, we just wouldn't advise that people have too much of that too often. Fruit is good for us as part of a balanced diet. However, it's much better eaten in its whole form because in its whole form, it is full of fibre. When fruit is broken down into a liquid form, such as juice or a smoothie, that fibre has broken down. That means the body doesn't have to do much work. And that means that our blood glucose is going to rise quicker than if we ate the fruit in its whole form. In the eat in moderation section here, this is where most of our proteins go, but not all of our proteins. So we have our lean meats, so we have chicken, we have some of our fish here as well. So fish that doesn't contain any coatings on. We have our starchy carbohydrates, we've got our bread, rice and our pasta. We've got some cereal here. We've also got some of our cracker breads as well. We have potatoes. We also have a boiled egg. We've got cottage cheese. And we have our baked beans here at the front as well. So the bean itself is a source of protein. It's just the sauce on the beans that do have some level of sugar, but we can still keep that in our moderation section. This is also where our vegetarian proteins and our vegan proteins would come in. So alongside our pulses, so our beans, lentils, chickpeas, our legumes, this is where our soya protein would also come in as a healthy alternative to the meats for vegetarians and vegans as well in the healthy moderation. So foods that are in this eat in moderation section, we do need these still as part of a healthy diet. It's just that if we eat more than our body needs of these foods, that can make us put on weight or struggle to lose weight perhaps. And that in turn can then impact on our blood pressure, our cholesterol and our heart health and our blood glucose levels. Moving on to the eat less often section, we have quite a lot of what we would call our treat foods here. So we have things like our baked goods, our pastries, things that are very high in saturated fats and calories. Perhaps they're also high in carbohydrates as well. Now, these foods, if we have more than a small amount, that can really impact on our weight and increase our risk of high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and in turn affect our heart health as well. In here, we have lots of fried foods. We also have fish here. So we did say in the last section that we had fish in eat in moderation. The reason this particular fish is in the eat less often category is because it's covered in breadcrumbs or batter and it's been deep fried. And it's because of this coating that it's made it go into the eat less often. If the fish did not have that coating on, it could then be in the moderation section. We've also got here a fried egg. So we talked about the boiled egg in the eat in moderation section. If this egg wasn't fried in lots of oil, so if we perhaps used a spray oil or we dry fried it or poached it, that egg could actually go in moderation. The same here, we have some roast potatoes. That's because they have been cooked in a lot of calories, so a lot of oil, which contains a lot of calories. That is why the potatoes are, in this case, in the eat less often section. However, if we were to use a spray oil or were to dry roast them or use something like an air fryer, we could also move that over to the eat in moderation section too. So in this eat less often section, we have our red meats. So we have things like our sausages, bacon, beef, we've got our pork chops here as well. Now, some of these foods, although they would stay in eat less often, because they are high in fat, high in calories, can really impact on our heart health if we have too much of them. We can still make them healthier. So as we can see on this pork chop, there is a lot of fat on there, whereas we have cut that off for this pork chop, so it contains a lot less fat and a lot less calories and is going to be a better choice between the two. So we've also got in this eat less often section biscuits, chocolate and ice cream. We do not have to choose sugar-free versions of these particular foods because it doesn't mean to say that they would be fat-free even if they are sugar-free. Also, with things like biscuits, they also contain flour as well as sugar, and flour is a starchy carbohydrate and will break down into sugar in our bodies. So although something may be labelled as sugar-free or no added sugar, check the label, and if it still contains carbohydrates, it will still break down into sugar in our bodies. So also in the eat less often category, we have nuts. That can be salted nuts, roasted nuts, or actually unsalted and unroasted nuts as well. The reason they are in eat less often is purely because of the fat content. They are high in calories. So even if they do not have salt and they're not roasted, we would still advise just having a small amount of these foods if we're trying to lose weight. We also have alcohol in the less often category, so that includes beer, but also things like wine, spirits and alco pops. That's because they can be high in carbohydrates as well as calories, so that again can increase our risk of gaining weight or struggling to lose weight. That can then impact on our overall heart health. If we can see all the three different sections here, we might be able to see that on the eat often side, it's like a rainbow of colours. It's a very colourful side. And where we can, although we might be having more less often foods sometimes and eating moderation foods, where we can, if we can add more of these foods in our diet with these particular foods, it's going to be a lot healthier and is going to make for a much more balanced diet. I hope this will help you to see what options there are to make healthier choices when it comes to food.
Portion sizes. Use your hand as a guide. This is a hand-sized guide to portion sizes for different food types. You might find this helpful. It is also available on the British Heart Foundation website. What can I eat? Choose healthier carbohydrate foods like pasta, bread, potatoes, rice and fruit rather than sugary foods. Eat less salt. The maximum daily intake of salt should be no more than 6 grams, which is the same as 1 level teaspoon. Remember to think about which foods that may already have salt included, such as ready meals, snacks, bread, crackers, biscuits and cakes. Eat less processed meat such as sausage, salami and bacon. These foods are likely to be high in saturated fats, salt and preservatives. Eat more vegetables and fruit. Vegetables and fruit provide us with essential vitamins, minerals and fibre. Choose a healthier type of fat such as unsaturated, such as olive oil, rapeseed oil or sunflower oil. Remember that all fats are high in calories, so must be eaten or used in small amounts. Cut down on added sugars. Aim to stop adding sugar to drinks and cereals. You can always use a sweetener instead. Be smart with snacks. Try to make healthier choices. The current maximum recommendations for alcohol are no more than 14 units per week for all adults. Ideally, spread your alcohol intake out over the week and aim to have at least 2 whole days when you don't drink any alcohol at all. You don't have to spend money on buying expensive foods labelled as for diabetes or for diabetics. Just choose healthier options and have smaller portions. It is always best to try to get your minerals and vitamins from your food. This concludes section 6. In the final section, you will have the opportunity to fill in a diabetes change plan to help you in the future, so that you can be in charge of your diabetes instead of your diabetes being in charge of you.